What's going on? Welcome back to The Haunted Beard, everybody. Today, I want to give you my review for Mind, Body, Spirit. This is a 2024 found footage supernatural horror film. And this one is about this younger girl named Anya, who has just recently inherited a house from her deceased grandmother. And she is this aspiring yoga influencer. And she discovers this book left behind by her grandmother in the home that contains these ancient rituals, and she decides to engage and practice them in an attempt to kind of find herself and also connect with her grandmother on a spiritual level. And of course, things take a dark and sinister turn. And for me, Mind, Body, Spirit is a mixed bag. The performance by Sarah J. Bartholomew, who plays the lead, she does a pretty good job given like what she has to work with. She's an, I guess enjoyable enough character to follow around. She pretty much has to carry this thing on her shoulders, as she is really the only actor in the film for a good 75 to 80% of the movie. And so for the most part, I think she does an adequate job in carrying the movie. Now, in terms of how the film handles the found footage presentation, is kind of the most mixed aspect and is probably going to be the make it or break it for most people. I like that the film is largely devoid of any sort of music or soundtrack. They add some kind of, sort of deep rumbles and stuff like that to it. But other than that, there isn't any, added soundtrack or score to it, which I appreciate. So it just kind of feels more realistic and natural. I like how the filmmakers chose to, I guess, sort of build a bit of a creepy atmosphere in terms of the shot selection, to where there are shots where if you're not paying close attention, you're going to miss something going on in the background. And I also like that they choose not to draw much attention to those things in the background. And so if you miss it, you miss it. Whereas most filmmakers would add a jump scare sound effect to, try to say, hey, look at this, make sure you see what's going on in the background sort of thing. But they don't do that. And so I appreciate it. It just kind of adds a nice, creepy, unsettling atmosphere to the movie. So I thought that was a pretty solid part. Now, the movie is set up right at the beginning to where it zooms in on a laptop screen. We see we're on some website, some video platform type website. And there is a file on there called Mind, Body, Spirit, and that's what plays, and that's the movie. And the movie does something different to where it actually edits in ads into the movie, just like it would be if you were watching this online, and a little skip button shows up in the bottom corner sort of thing. And while I appreciate kind of, I guess, the attempt of it and doing something a little bit different, It doesn't totally work, because the ads are kind of a play on, some of the, influencer, just phony fakeness and all that sort of stuff. And so they're kind of corny and cheesy, and they're meant to be, but it doesn't really flow all that well with the tone of the rest of the movie. And so that was something that I appreciate the effort, but it didn't totally work. Now, regarding how the movie is filmed, there are many shots where Anya just sets up a camera. She's got her yoga mat down right in the living room, and she's just filming a video session that she's going to upload. And so you get these just static, long, extended shots of her kind of doing her thing. And at some point, she'll be closing her eyes or facing a different direction, and the camera will just start to pan around like in a full 360-degree circle sort of thing. Now, what I liked about this was that this was, to me anyways, the spirit of the grandmother taking over the camera. And so I don't know, I was trying to think if I've seen other found footage movies where the actual entity or spirit or ghost or whatever actually gains control and uses the camera. And I couldn't think of any, and I'm sure there probably are some, but none came to mind right away. And so I kind of like that aspect and how they implemented it. However, I don't know that there's really a good reason for why the spirit of her grandma would decide to operate the camera just for the sake of operating the camera. You know what I mean? So it's like, I appreciate the attempt of it again, but it doesn't totally fully work. And while most of the movie is a mixed bag, there are two scenes, though, that stood out for me that I think work quite well. The first one is when Anya drinks some, I believe it's like mushroom tea, and starts tripping. That is a pretty cool scene. Just how they present that and everything that happens there is pretty cool. And then the second scene is the entire final sequence of the movie, which is one long, like 12-minute take. And it kind of just works pretty well. And I like the extended take. It just kind of makes things feel more real. And it does the thing, though, where the camera pans in this 360-degree circle, but how they are able to execute that technique, I thought it was pretty cool. In the end, I'm still a little bit more on the positive side. There are elements of this that are pretty predictable. I was able to pretty much figure out what exactly was going on and what was going to happen, less than halfway into the movie. And I wish that, as good as that final sequence is, which I think it is really good, I wish we would have gotten a little bit more. I wish they would have kind of ratcheted things up and things would have gotten a little more crazy and intense. And so it leaves you a little bit unsatisfied. But like I said, I'm still a little bit more on the positive side than the negative side. I'm probably going to be like a 6 out of 10 for Mind, Body, Spirit. So I think if you're a found footage fan, you could give this one a watch, and I think for the most part, you'd enjoy yourself. You can rent it right now. I rented it on Amazon. It was like $5 or something like that. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Hit me up down below, though, if you've seen this. I'd be curious to know your opinion on the camera, and did what they do with, sort of the grandmother's spirit operating the camera, did that work for you, or did you think that was just a total cop-out and it betrayed the found footage rules kind of thing? So anyways, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Greatly appreciate it. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.